sit in the emergency response room, which I believe is in Ballarat.
There's one in Ballarat, yes.
Yeah, who sits in those emergency response rooms, and how do they control the information and...
While we're recording, I'll give you the official answer. The incident control centres are set up. So there's regional ones, there's Ballarat one, and there's another one in Gippsland. And then there's the state control centre, which is in Nicholson Street, which burned down with an electrical fire a couple of years ago. Conveniently at the time the Emergency Management Commissioner was leaving, but it wasn't him. They knew where he was. It was due to leaking water. And so they'll get kicked off for a fire of a certain size. There's an incident control team formed, and that's all structured under the Australian Incident Management System, AIMS, and there's a whole series of what goes on. So a small fire will be managed by the person, if it's public land, by the agency that owns that land, whether it's DELWP or Parks Vic or Vic Forests. They will manage that fire. Once it gets bigger and more agencies come in, then the team will grow and the structure of that team will grow. Within the rules, no one person can have more than 7 people reporting to them, so that it doesn't get too unwieldy. So there's a person as the incident controller for that shift, and that will then hand over to someone else, and then it eventually, as it gets to a big enough fire, it gets broken into a system where there's media, logistics, and a number of other groups. I think it's 5 or 6. Thank you. I haven't looked at the document for a little while. And then there's an offsider that's always appointed there. So that person reports to has 6 people report to them, and within each of those teams you can have bigger teams, which could be 6 people reporting and moving up. They will always have media officers in those rooms. There'll be aircraft, there'll be on-ground resources, and it's all through a common operating system, and it just grows as the incident grows. So power companies will be represented there as well if there's major transmission lines, plantation owners as well if they've got resources, and they'll be doing the information flow back and forward. They'll only report to one person. You only ever report to one person under that structure, so that information's not getting lost, and you can no more than 6 or 7 reporting to you. So they can grow, but they're all set up, massive screens on there, lots of information coming in. You'll have meteorologists there as well, fire behaviour analysts predicting the path of the fire. Social media people will be there as well. They're huge events. And then the State Control Centre can have multiple fires going through there. So thinking of New South Wales, there's a circle, and they have the north, south, east and west regions. So depending on which fire you're working in, says which sector you work in, and you have a bib on that says I'm Fred or whatever you are, media or whatever, and so people know immediately what you're working on. It's very, very structured, and a vast improvement of where things were 20 years ago.